Welcome back to That Dad Guy. It is November 24th, 2024, and it is a rainy, dreary 5 degrees Celsius outside. And today, I want to talk about what kind of been going through my head lately, what's going on in my life over the last week and a half, maybe even longer than that, really. But this weekend, you know what I should have been doing? I should have been shooting a video about Christmas at the Coliseum. Instead, I've been on the picket line. I've been thinking about how long this is going to go on, how it's going to impact Christmas, how it's impacting other people for Christmas. And we get a lot of information bombarded at us all the time. I can't go on social media without reading comments saying how lazy me and my coworkers are, how greedy we are, how selfish we are for ruining everybody's Christmas or affecting their small businesses at this most important time of the year. And the reason why it's happening now is because it is the most important time of the year for Canada Post and delivery. It is the one time that Canada Post workers can make a stand and have their voice and their situation heard. If we were to go out in May, no one would care. We would be out forever. People care now because it affects them. And we are not here to ruin everybody's Christmas. We're not here to ruin our own Christmases, because that's what's happening. We are not getting paid. We do not have benefits anymore for all the 55,000 members that are out that require medical benefits. If they need a prescription filled, they have to pay for the whole thing. There is nothing covering them. This is not a fun time for everyone who is working for Canada Post. And we agree and we understand it is not a fun time for the public. But in order for the corporation to hear us, this is when we need to go. This is day 10 of the strike. And so I want to give a little bit of context of how we got to where we are now and the importance of actions like this, and how it affects not just us, but the whole population, the whole workforce that are out there. Some of the things that, because of people being stubborn and asking for fair treatment and equality, it has gotten it for other people. And maybe you don't realize that. I understand both sides of the situation. I've been in a workforce where I've been on the other side of a union. I've been in businesses that haven't had unions. I now am in a business that does have a union, and I'm on the union side of it. And we have had great gains in our work-life standards throughout time because people have stand up for injustices and said it isn't right. We don't have children working down in mines anymore, at least not in advanced countries, if we can use that word, where we have fought for those rights during the Industrial Revolution. Yes, unions have changed over time, and some of them may not be as strong as they once were, and some of them may be too strong and are letting their members get away with lots of things. That may be your standpoint. Maybe that's where you're writing your comments about it. I've been glad that family and friends are still supportive of the situation, but when I go on, or any of the other members go on social media, or we go out into the world, we can read the comments about how lazy we are, how greedy we are, how we don't deserve to have the job we have, and maybe our job is not important anymore because nobody sends letters and nobody cares. And how is this affecting my small business, my Christmas, my children's presents arriving, Santa Claus's letters, a plethora of things, of the checks that we depend on getting in the mail that aren't direct deposited yet. All of these things. These are all things that are on our backs, on our minds, in pressure. And yeah, we want to get back to work. I want to get back to work. But we want to do so with a fair deal. And what you might think is fair and what we might think is fair may be different. You don't know the situation maybe of how we work, and I don't know the situation of where you work. Maybe you work in someplace wonderful and everything is great all the time. And you know what? I'm very happy with the job I have, and we are fighting not just for what we have now, we are fighting for the members that are getting ready to retire, those that are already in retirement, that their benefits continue and are great to help their needs, the new hires that are coming on, that they make sure that they're getting a fair and equitable treatment and being treated like everybody else these are some of the issues. But let's go back in time a little bit. And I'm going to throw up a few postage stamps on here because that's what you know me for. We have had some Canadian postage stamps that have had to do with postal unions. So we're going to put some of those up. But I want to say back in 1974, Canada Post workers went on strike between April 19th and the 26th of that month for female employees to be awarded the same pay as male employees. And they got it because they went on strike and they said, this isn't fair. Those workers of both genders should be treated the same. No matter what gender you are, you should be treated the same, paid the same for the same work. So that's what one strike in 1974 happened. There was another strike 1 year later, 1975, from October 20th to December 2nd. You can see the time frame. We're looking before Christmas. That's usually when the strikes happen. So there was a work stoppage then. In 1978, 3 years later, there was a work stoppage once again on October 20th, but they were immediately legislated back to work that same day. So it wasn't a very long strike before the government said, nope, back to work, you're an essential service. We're an essential service? Really? We're like the police, the fire department, paramedics? If so, we should be treated the same way, should we not? The big strike, 1981. So you can see the 70s, between the mid-70s and the early 80s, there were constant disruptions in the contracts. The contracts were short, and they didn't get an agreement. They went out. But in 1981, Canada Postal Union workers went on strike for 42 days, the longest strike in Canada Post history. And one of the things that Canada Post workers won at that point in time was maternity leave. So if you are a mother or have been a beneficiary of your mother being off on maternity leave, it is because Canada Post workers went on strike. They won the right to 17 weeks of maternity leave. They didn't just have to go back to work after they had a baby after that point, and that has grown to a year, over a year, all because Canada Post workers fought for it. Once they fight for one thing, the rest of the industry adopts it. So that's, if you've had weekends off, you have a 5-day work week, it's because the unions have fought to give you that. Maternity leave, paternity leave, sick and vacation days, all things that have been fought for by unions. And so these are some of the benefits you get when one group goes on strike. When we go on strike, whatever we win, the industry will adopt, and that's the way it goes. We are looking for industry standards. We are looking for new and equitable things. So 1981, that happened. And we hear this all the time. Canada Post is always on strike. This is where I'm going to try to disprove some of that fallacy. So between 1981 and 1991, those 10 years, no strikes. In 1991, at September 9th to September 17th, there was a rotating strike before we were legislated back to work once again. Rotating strikes means that maybe one city is off for a couple days, but the rest of the country is working, or pockets of cities are off. It's a work disruption method, but it keeps people working. People keep getting paid, but it changes the volumes. In 1995, no disturbance. We got a deal. They managed to work out something and didn't have to have a strike or a lockout or anything. 1997, there was a strike between November 19th and December the 5th before they were legislated back to work once again. Between 1998 and 2002, no disturbances. Deals were met. 2003, a deal was met. 2007, a deal was met. So between 1997 and 2007, those 10 years, everything was agreed upon and work continued on. In 2011, on June 2nd, they went on a rotating strike. On June 14th, Canada Post locked them out. Said, no rotating strike. If you're not all working, then none of you are working. They locked us out between June 14th and June 27th of 2011. Between 2012 and 2017, no lockouts, deals were continued to happen. In 2018, on October 22nd, rotating strike again for 1 month. On November 22nd, we were legislated back to work once again. And whenever we're legislated back to work, it means that an arbiter comes in and says, this is the deal you get, and it's finalized. So both parties are kind of unhappy with what they get, and that's the way it should be, I guess, in a contract. But you're right, our only right we have to strike is taken away from us when we're legislated back to work. In 2021, during COVID, our contract was up, and instead of doing anything, we just said we're going to continue with the same deal we have for 2 more years because the whole world is hurting and people need us to work, and it's not the time to bicker over anything. We will continue. So that's what we did. That brought us to this year. Actually, 2023, our contract expired in the end of December of 2023, and for the urbans, it was the end of January 2024. So 1 year, we've been without a contract. They've been negotiating. They couldn't come to terms. So on November 15th of this year, Canada Post workers issued a strike, and so we've been out for 10 days. We're hoping that things will get resolved, but I wanted to give you that background. None of us want to inflict harm on anybody else. We want this to be a peaceful protest, which it has been. There are people across the country striking in all sorts of different conditions for all sorts of different hours. We have people that are out in the snow, in the rain. Some are lucky enough to have sunshine. Some are in the cold. Some are in the warm. Because we're a country of such vast size, we are out in all sorts of different conditions. And I can tell you, we all want to be back to work. We all want to be having our benefits once again, our paychecks, our regular routines, being able to prepare for Christmas, knowing that there is money in the bank to pay the bills that we have, and, maybe wanting to treat other people by buying presents this year. We want to do that. We also want to make sure the kids are able to get letters from Santa and mail their letters to Santa. We also want people to have their businesses survive and thrive in the busiest time of the year when people are buying things. It is right now for Christmas, for presents, and we know that small businesses are hurting as a result of it. They're being forced to go to other couriers, which cost a whole lot more money. One of the benefits of Canada Post in Canada is that we reach everybody, and we already have that network in there, so we're able to keep the costs lower. If you want to go to one of the competitors, it costs more to get your stuff out, and we understand that. That's my update. That's where we are. I hope I'm not trying to pull for sympathy. I appreciate the positive comments, and I do get them. People are very generous about saying, well, we hope you get a fair and equitable deal. That's what all we're asking for, and we hope we get you back to work soon. I do too, but this has been weighing on my mind. I've been wanting to talk about it. I'm not getting into the actual specifics of where we are. There's a lot of people that want to talk about the money side, that's how greedy we are, but they're not seeing the two-tier offers that have been giving about new employees and older employees and the benefits that they want to cut and some of the rollbacks that they want to do with things that we've already fought for. So those are all on the table. And there's public knowledge out there. You can do the research. You can see, if you go onto the CUPW site, you can see what the union is asking for and where we are. You can also go to the corporate site and see what they are suggesting is out there too. So it's very public. The media is running with all sorts of things here in Canada. If you're around the rest of the world, maybe you don't hear anything about it, and that's fine. But I just wanted to bring you up to date on what's going on here with that dad guy. I am trying to continue to put out content for you, so every once in a while there may be something about the strike in there, because that's where I am, that's where my mind's at. So I've shown you the shack that I had a hand in building, that we're trying to stay dry in, and it is, it was great yesterday. It was pouring rain and we stayed dry, so I was glad that we were able to get that built. But yeah, I want to keep positive, but I wanted to let you know it's out there. And you can see from some of the stamps that I showed you throughout the montage, there's been some great stamps that have come out for unions. And I just showed you the Canadian ones. There are ones for all different countries, for the Union of Postal Workers, for different anniversaries that are out there. You can look for striking workers. There are stamps for that. There are different unions, because teachers, doctors, nurses, paramedics, firefighters, police force, auto workers, steel workers, there's unions everywhere, and they're around the world, and they are helping to create better workforces for people. And yes, there are still some problems with unions. I won't get into that right now, but that's where we're at. Yeah, hopefully you enjoyed hearing a little bit about this, seeing a little bit of history of what's happened with Canadian postal workers unions in the past, and some of the things that we have fought hard for and got, and very thankful for now in having, and can't imagine a world without them now. So if you're in a country that doesn't have some of those rights, or have gotten them because of other people fighting for it, just remember that when things are tough for you, when you're thinking about other people that are maybe out of work right now. We're out of work because we're trying to fight for the greater good, not just for our greedy, lazy jobs. That's the best way to do it. Anyways, you guys, thanks for listening to me rant. I hope it's positive. I wanted to try to keep it positive as best I can. And you guys have a magical week. What, Polo? You say like, subscribe, share, and tell all your friends?
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
Bye.